Hi, how you doing? Okay, my history with music. I love music. I rock out all day. I was just at the grocery store, right in front of everybody, just thing in my head. I can't help it, honestly. I have so much passion for music, and I'm just such a rocker, headbanger. I can't even if you put a gun to my head, I would have to headbang. If it's like AC/DC or something, I'm off I go. I just have to. but I grew up in a Mormon home in the '80s. My mom believed that all rock and roll was the devil's music. My dad converted Mormon to marry my mom, and he had some Rolling Stones and Bob Dylan and Beatles and Eagles tapes, and whenever we were outside of the house, he would listen to that, especially Bob Dylan. But he would talk about the Rolling Stones. Uh, so I grew up around it, and I always liked it, but it didn't really mean anything to me till I was like in sixth grade, and I noticed the band The Police. Technically, The Police was my first favorite band, but I didn't really know about heavy metal. Then I went into junior high, and there were rockers. They were wearing Iron Maiden shirts with the coolest artwork, and the words Iron Maiden. It just, oh my gosh, just the artwork, and like I just absolutely love it, you know. But I saw that, and just like Gene Simmons with blood coming out of his mouth and everything. I liked Kiss from that. We all of us kids in the '70s watched Phantom of the Park, and Kiss was on Scooby Doo and stuff. And I liked that, and I thought it was cool, but I didn't think much of it really. And so I wanted to do that, but it was the devil's music, and it was against the rules. So I used to mow lawns for money. I saved up money, and I went to the store, and I bought AC/DC Fly on the Wall, and at first I bought from a friend Def Leppard Pyromania, and he sold me a Walkman too. So then I was like, oh, ooh, a Walkman, but where can I listen to it, you know? So I went up into the attic, and I made a special room. I made like a carpet swing. Because I'm tall, I could jump up, I could pull myself up in the attic, and no one ever goes up there. So I made my own little secret room to listen to rock and roll. And then pretty soon, I saved up money and got AC/DC Fly on the Wall and Iron Maiden Live After Death, and went up there and listened to it. And the first one I put in was AC/DC. If you've ever heard that, the first song, Fly on the Wall, I was like, I thought that was the actual voice of the devil. And then Live After Death, the first song is the Churchill speech. It has all this fire going. We shall fight on the land with great strength and courage in the air. And it sounds like this black seance thing, and I pictured all these people in black robes, and I was just, wow, this is the devil. Instead of being all the devil's voice, I thought it was cool. I was like, oh, the devil sings music. So my original interest in heavy metal was the whole devil thing. I was like, oh, if the devil makes music, I want to hear his music. That's pretty cool. Um, so that's how I started out with AC/DC and Iron Maiden and Def Leppard. But I stole my dad's tapes because he didn't listen to music much anymore. He just listened to talk shows. And I would listen to Rolling Stones' Tattoo You album, and Bob Dylan's greatest hits, The Who's greatest hits, and Eagles' The Long Run or Long Way Home, and I don't know, some others. It wasn't very many of them. But pretty soon I was getting other things. Before long, I was a Van Halen fan. All through the '80s, I was the ultimate Van Halen fan. I mean, that was my thing. Soon that turned into my thing, Van Halen. I wanted to be like Eddie Van Halen. I saw the movie Back to the Future, and I was like, oh wow, a wide skateboard instead of a little thin plastic one. And immediately I went out and I bought a skateboard, and I got a job at McDonald's, saved up, and bought an electric guitar and taped it up like Eddie Van Halen's guitar on his first album. And learned to play Johnny B. Good, and the rest is history. I've just always loved heavy metal. And then in college, I got into punk rock because it was always on my list of things to do, but there were so many tapes to get to know, and there were punk rockers, and I said, I want to get to know punk rock too. And then in college, I was more into punk rock, and then even in my mid 30s, I became a roadie for a punk rock band. I'd drive them around in the Winnebago, and when they were too drunk to drive, and I would load and unload the equipment and stuff like that and get in for free and stuff. It was pretty cool. And all my friends were punk rockers and mohawks and everything. So I've been around punk rock as an adult, for a long time I used to have like a Hare Krishna tail and I would wear combat boots and things like that, So I have a lot of background in, because by now I've been an adult for a long time. So I've been into punk rock a long time. I listen to a lot of R&B. I love Amy Winehouse and TLC. I listen to them all the time. I listen to Aretha Franklin and Nina Simone and some classics like that. Heart. All through high school, Heart's always been my secret thing. I'm like, oh, Heart is the most underrated band. Their guitar kicks ass, and all that. So I just have a long history with music. It's my favorite thing. I just love it. Bob Marley's my religion. It's like on a whole other level. Led Zeppelin's the band musically I respect the most. But you can look at this, see some of this stuff. I love Michael Jackson. That's a great album. Sin After Sin. This is one of my favorite albums in the whole world. Love it. Dio was my first concert. Megadeth opened for him. Actually, Sabotage opened, and then Megadeth and Dio. Dream Evil. I bought a Dio Dream Evil t-shirt that tour, and all through high school that was my favorite shirt. Dio still, they're the band, they're who I listen to probably the most. I'm a hardcore Dio fan. Oingo Boingo's a big, huge, giant favorite of mine. I saw them in concert. It's the only concert I've ever been to that I knew every song, every word all the way through. Love it. Of course, Bob is always going to be a hardcore favorite. So anyway, that's my history with music.